In the nutrition section, you will find the weight section, and that is essentially some information about how your genes help you maintain or reduce your body weight. So in the results section, you will first find all of the genes that we've tested. So these are 8 genetic variations that scientists have found influence how your body reacts to certain environmental stimuli. And we simplified the name in body weight gene 1, 2, 3, and 8. So if you talk to an expert, you would want to use the scientific name so that he knows what you're talking about. And these are very technical names. So FABP2, which stands for fatty acid binding protein 2. And this here is the catalog number of the genetic variation. And this is the laboratory results. So GG means there are 2 copies of this gene in this person, and at the point where there is a genetic variation, there's a G on both sides, and those might be different for different people, and depending on what genetic letters we found at these positions, we can estimate how the body is likely to react to certain lifestyle changes. Now, if you go to the sensor, you will find some science behind all of these genes. So again, this is similar to the medical section that I've explained in other videos. It will show you this is the FABP2 gene. If your result is the axis here, it means this is your result. You have GG as the genetic result. It's the same as 42% of the general population, and this has no effect on your body weight. If you were to have AG, like 51% of the population, you would, for example, have an increased fat sensitivity. So eating more fat leads to more body weight. Or you might have increased risk of fat deposits around the organs, and so on. And there are the scientific references behind it. And here you can just read up on all of the individual genetic effects that we're looking at. But again, this is very technical information. Only if you're interested, this makes sense to read. Otherwise, you click on analysis, and this is a summary of what this actually means for you. And this is very interesting. In this part, you find, do you tend to gain weight from carbohydrates? And you might be like this example, where this person has a very high sensitivity to carbohydrates, meaning the more carbohydrates this person eats, the more this person is going to gain weight. There are, however, some people that are very insensitive to the amount of carbohydrates, and they would be down here. And those people would usually experience that even if they eat more calories in form of carbohydrates, sugars and starches and so on, they would not gain weight. So it depends on your genes if this is a risk factor for you to gain weight. And similarly, it goes for fat. So you might be very fat sensitive, meaning the more fat you eat, the more you become overweight. But there are also people who can eat twice as much fat, more calories through fat, and they do not gain weight. And this is a very interesting aspect if you want to reduce your body weight or maintain your body weight. You can find out, okay, in this case, carbohydrates are the problem, fat is not so much of a problem, so I eat less carbs and more fat. It might be the other way around, or it might be a balance in between. So do check your results, and it will give you a first idea of where your genetic risks or strengths and weaknesses lie. The program will later tell you how to use this information to change your diet. But this section will just explain to you what tendency we could find in your genetic profile. Then the yo-yo effect, or the rebound effect, essentially predicts how quickly your body would regain weight once you have successfully lost weight if you fall back into old habits. So the higher this is, the more important it is for you to change your lifestyle permanently to maintain your body weight. Because if the yo-yo effect is very strong, that means that you would very quickly be back where you started whenever you start to lose discipline. Then there is fat called visceral fat, and this is typically deposited around the organs. So it's not around the hips, but inside the belly area. and this is metabolically active, so it is less healthy for you than if it was fat around the hips. So this is also something to do with how unhealthy is it for you to be overweight. Then this is a very interesting one. How much muscle mass do you lose when you reduce calories? Now, whenever your body breaks down fat, it will also break down some muscle mass to be able to utilize the energy from fat. And this is a process that is faster in some people and slower in others. So in this example, the bar is all the way to the end, meaning that this person loses a lot more muscle mass and needs to counteract and rebuild the muscle mass to maintain it, while other people have quite low breakdown of muscle mass, in which case not so many interventions are required to maintain the muscle mass. Then the intensity of feeling hunger is very different from person to person. So when two people don't eat for a period of 6 or 8 hours, some of them might suffer a lot more by having very intense hunger, while others do not. And genetic variations are the cause of this. So this is essentially telling you how intense your relative feeling of hunger is compared to other people. It might be weak or strong. This is information that you might want to use and might want to be aware of how you are built in comparison to other people. And the same goes for the feeling of satiety, or the feeling of being full. When you eat a meal, the first nutrients reach your small intestine, and then certain hormones are being produced that are starting to tell your body, okay, thank you, I'm no longer hungry. So your feeling of satiety starts to develop. And this is faster in some people and slower in others. And people who have a slower response are more prone to eat more calories, because they are eating longer before the body realizes, okay, it's enough. And they tend to overeat, and this is also a specific risk for obesity, because the body is not telling them when to stop taking in more calories. And then this part is quite interesting. There was a study where they took several hundred people. They gave them a plate and a buffet of different sorts of food, and they asked them to put on their plate everything that they would like to eat now. And they did, and then in the end they calculated the amount of calories on every plate, and they found that people who had a certain genetic variation had significantly more calories on the plate than other people. So people with a certain genetic variation are manipulated by this genetic variation to prefer food that has more calories. And you should be aware, if you're in this section, you're likely to be manipulated by your own genes to prefer food with high calories. And if you don't specifically choose which type of food you should eat, your genes will likely try to lead you to eat more calories than you should. And a similar thing goes with snacks. So some people tend to eat more snacks than others. You might not even be aware of it. Maybe you're just eating a salad for lunch, but then without being aware, eat a chocolate bar or some crisps. Some people tend to snack throughout the day. And scientists have also found that certain genetic variations lead people to snack all day, while others are more immune to the snacking impulse. Okay, and now since we know how sensitive you are to carbohydrates and how sensitive you are to fat, you could see what balance is better for you. So in this case, it's important where the bar ends. This bar is more towards the low carb end rather than the low fat end, because this person is carbohydrate sensitive and fat insensitive. And this will tell you what focus the whole program will have to change your diet to best counteract your risk. The next question is, what is the best balance between diet, meaning calorie reduction, and exercise? And this is very interesting. If you take two people and put them in a gym and they both exercise to lose weight and they do exactly the same exercise, you will find that one of them might lose 3 times more weight doing exactly the same things than the other one. And that is because genetic variations can really influence how effective exercise is to lose weight. And the same goes for calorie reduction, so eating fewer calories than your body needs. The results are very different from person to person. So what we do is we test your genetic tendency, we estimate how good is exercise, how effective is calorie reduction, and then depending on what is more effective and what is less effective, we try to get put the focus on what is most effective for you and thereby increase the efficiency of the system. So here, this person is in the middle, so both of it is practically equally effective, but you might be here, meaning that you need more calorie reduction and a light exercise program, or if you're up here, you get a more intense exercise program and a lower calorie reduction. And this way we find out what works best and how to use this information to get the highest efficiency for you to lose weight. Then I have previously told you that there is a difference in how fast people break down muscle mass when they break down fat. And depending on that, you need to take preventive measures to maintain your muscle mass. In case your muscle mass breakdown is faster, we would recommend more power-oriented sports because this is muscle building exercise. So if your arrow is here, you need to do more power-oriented sports. If you're down here, you should do more endurance-oriented sports. So one time you need to build muscles to keep your muscles, and in the other case, it's not so important. And finally, there is a recommendation of how many meals you should eat per day in case you want to lose weight. Now, this is just a recommendation. If this does not fit in with your lifestyle or your work environment, feel free to change this. But this is a recommendation for you to better handle longer periods of not eating anything, because some people, as I said, have a very strong feeling of hunger. And in these cases, we would recommend 5 smaller meals spread out through the day so that hunger does not develop, while other people have a very low feeling of hunger and a strong feeling of satiety. And in these cases, it's good enough to just have 3 larger meals during the day. So feel free to follow these recommendations or disregard them based on your preferences. Now that we know all of your genetic strengths and weaknesses, as well as what balance between fats and carbohydrates you should ingest, we can use this information to now change your lifestyle accordingly to help you either lose weight or maintain your body weight more effectively if you wish to do so. And if you click on the menu plan section, this is probably the easiest way for you to follow these recommendations. We now know how many calories you should take in if you want to lose weight through the calorie reduction efficiency. And we also know how many carbohydrates, how much fat, and how much protein. And based on that, we created a personalized menu for you that you can now follow. And if you follow this menu, you get the exact amounts of fat, carbohydrates, and protein for you to achieve your goal. Now, if you scroll down, you will see this is a breakfast meal, this is a lunch meal, and this is dinner. And you will see a different list of different items that you could eat. And there are 4 columns. One of them is the lose weight column. So if you want to lose weight for lunch, you would eat these ravioli and you would eat 271 grams. Now these numbers are different for every person. They are individually calculated. And it will tell you how much, so you just follow the whole lose weight column. You eat or drink what you find in this column, and this ensures that you're eating the right balance of carbohydrates and eating the right amount of calories. Now, once you've lost your body weight, or you've gone to the body weight that you were aiming for, you shouldn't go back to old habits, because then you would very quickly go back to where you started. So the next thing is the adaptation week 1, which means for 1 week you can follow this and eat slightly more. The next week you eat even more, so your body slowly gets used to getting more calories again. and then on the long term you can maintain your weight in the weight maintaining column. So then you would just eat the amounts in the last column. Now here you will find a number of different menus like this, and you can choose any one of them, but you really have to stick with this and not modify it, because otherwise the calorie balances, fat and carbohydrates are out of balance and not what you would require. Now down here at the bottom there are potential snacks. So whenever you've eaten your daily menu and you realize you're still hungry, there is a possibility for you to just choose any one of these snacks down here. You can choose to eat any amount of them because they are very low in calories, and you can just eat as much of it as you want. So there's really no excuse to be hungry, because you can always eat as many of these snacks and mix them into your meals as much as you want to. Now this is a very easy way of maintaining, of changing your nutrition. The next part is also that you will have to do some exercise to lose weight. And if you click on the exercise section, it will first explain to you how to do it. So as you remember, in the genetic test we found out how much calorie reduction should you do and how much exercise should you do, and it might be more of one or more of the other. And again, this was individually calculated for you based on your genetics. And if you go down to this column here, you now have the choice of choosing what kind of exercise you want to do, and your genetics will tell you how much of the exercise you need to do to reach your goal. So let's assume that you say, okay, I don't have time to do exercise every day of the week, which is understandable. I want to do it 3 times per week. Then you would go to this table, and then you go to the 3 times column, and then you choose the type of exercise that you want to do. So for example, if you like cycling and you go pretty slowly, 9 miles per hour, in the 3 times column, that would be 56 minutes. So you now have the choice of doing 3 sessions of cycling for 56 minutes, so almost an hour. So 3 times 1 hour cycling at a slow pace. Alternatively, you can say I just do 1 session of cycling at 56 minutes, then I also go jogging at 7.5 miles per hour for 27 minutes. You stay in the same column. And you want to do a session of squash with a friend of yours for half an hour. And since you now did 3 sections in the 3 times column, this will ensure that overall you're burning the right amount of calories, you're doing the right amount of exercise to really reach your goals. And first you will find a lot of sports like this, but you will then also find some free time sports that or dancing or lawn mowing, even some housework that is being considered, and then some things that you can also do at your local gym. So this is how you plan the amount of exercise that you should do. You have all the flexibility to use. If you have an app and another sort of sport that you want to do, that's also okay. Just make sure you use the app to track the amount of calories that you're burning, and to make sure that overall you come to the right amount of calories per week. Now in the diet plan section, you get a little bit more information, what kind of numbers are being calculated based on your body weight, your genetics, and so on. So in the first section here, we calculate your daily requirement for a stable body weight. This will be different. It's based on your sex, it's based on your body height, your body weight, and it will tell you if you eat this amount of calories per day, you will maintain a stable body weight. Now, if you want to lose weight, you will have to reduce your calories, and the reduction again is chosen by genetics. We are calculating this for you, and you will find this here. So the amount of daily calories you're allowed to eat during the weight loss phase is in this column, and these numbers again will be different for you. Now there is a different system. So you've already learned the concept of just using the menu plan. However, we also have a food list where you can find over 900 different food items, and each one of them is evaluated based on your genetics. So is this a type of food that is causing me to gain weight, or is it okay for me to eat? And we call a unit of eating one type of food a food item. So as an example, if for breakfast you want to eat a scrambled egg, you want to drink a glass of orange juice and have a slice of toast, those would be 3 food items. And how much orange juice you're allowed to drink, how much toast you're allowed to eat, and how much of the egg you're allowed to eat, this is all based on your genetics. So different amounts for different food items. Now this here is, just for your information, a typical food item. So one food item would be 133 kilocalories for you. Again, this is different for other people. It should be 16 grams of carbohydrates, 4.6 grams of fat, and 6.6 grams of protein. And this is one food item. Now, if you then go scroll down a bit, this will then tell you how many food items you're allowed to eat during the different phases. So if you want to lose weight, you should only eat 15 food items. Now you can go through a whole list. You choose whichever ones you want. Orange juice, as I said, is one. Toast is one, and scrambled egg is one. However, the portion of scrambled egg might be too small, so you might want to invest 2 food items in this. So you have 4 food items for a breakfast, and that would then leave you another 11 for the rest of the day. And then adaptation phase, week 1 you eat a little more, next week you eat even more, and the stability phase is 20 food items, which essentially is the amount of calories you should then eat to maintain your weight. And again, this is the recommendations of how many meals you should eat per day. So depending on if you want to maintain your weight, then you start with 20 food items per day, or if you want to lose weight, you start with 15 going up. Now again, these numbers might be different for you, so this is all very variable. Now, of course, it's important that you don't use 20 pieces of butter, which would be very unhealthy for you, and it would be a very small meal for you as well. So you should really try to eat lots of different types of food to make sure you get all the important nutrients. And so here's a guideline of what we would recommend to get at least 2 food items from bread and cereal, at least 2 items from the section of food, and so on. So try to follow these to make sure that you're also eating healthy, not just losing weight with an unhealthy diet. And this is how it then works. So as I said, if you want to drink orange juice, then one amount would be 260 milliliters. That's one food item. Then you would want to eat a fresh apple, maybe 230 grams, and then whole grain bread. And this might be a too small food item for you, so 56 grams. So you're investing 2 food items, which would then be 112 grams of bread that you're eating, and 68 grams of cottage cheese. And this might then be your breakfast. And you would have invested 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 food items. So you would still have 10 food items to eat for the rest of the day. Now you can then use the food list to pick and choose all of the different items that you want. You find out how much of each you're allowed to eat, and this gives you the full flexibility to eat whatever you want, as long as you follow the recommendations of the amount that you should eat. This will help you to very effectively lose weight.